He can only be here for a minute. Hola, señores, señoritas, estoy Cristobol Carrera. Un buen día, gracias por estar allá en esta reunión de Sir Thomas del Knox Club de Knox. Es un placer hacer su ayuda aquí. Pero yo necesito salir porque murió 38 pasado. 38 años pasados murió porque no usa la tarjeta crédito Mastercard. Adiós.
He works for Wolf Tree on the side. He's one of those customer contact guys.
Anyway, he was one of the climbers.
Yeah.
All right.
Fell off the tree.
I kind of rambled on that Cristobol Carrera died 38 years ago when he did not use the credit card because he traveled for 6 months in Latin America and then made it to the Galapagos Islands and then ran out of money, and his friend Richard Roberts, the head of the Tennessee Department of Revenue, said, "I've got this." Pulled out MasterCard. I said, "You know you never use that unless it's an emergency." He said, "Yeah, you're right. Let's go home." So, for that reason, the trip did not get finished. Richard Roberts is a multimillionaire, ran for Congress in the Upper East Tennessee area of Greenville. I lost track of him until I saw the ads on the TV, and I said, "Dang, we should have used that credit card." But anyway, I got this idea when I was a kid, and I've instilled this in my son, to take a trip. You can't learn everything at UT. And my British family had this tradition of taking a year journey after they graduated. So my cousin in England called me and said, "Cristobol, I've just graduated from Oxford, and I'd like to drive from Knoxville to Argentina." And I didn't think of that, he did, and we tried to do that, and this is some of that trip. And I don't know if I can, yeah. There you see the plan, La Meta, or the goal, and it's a long way, and they don't have a road that's that straight. But we did drive from Knoxville to Guatemala City, and I don't know if I can actually mouse around here, yeah. Somewhere down here in San Cristobal, you'll see what happened to my cousin Kim. Logan was actually with Kim in England just this week, I think.
About a week ago. Yeah.
Okay, it's a small world. Okay, we started at RIvermont. Some of you all might know RIvermont. It's a really neat home that the Kerr boys grew up in. That's a painting by Russell Briscoe, a famous artist, and I know we all like the history of Knoxville. And that's the view from the window, and they call it RIvermont because you can see the montañas and the rio, the river. And that was the first owner. He was very interesting because he put trolley cars on Gay Street. His name was Colonel Harvey. He's buried in the Old Gray Cemetery. And I've kind of become a RIvermont historian and found it's a very interesting background. And Terrell and I got to meet with Colonel Harvey's granddaughter at Long's drugstore one morning. Some of you all might know her. What's her name, Terrell? Whitney Dunford.
Whitney Dunford. Right there.
There you go, Whitney. And she is a character. She's got eyelashes over the lights of her car. Right, Alan?
God, and she's got an angel.
She's got an angel?
That's the dog.
And don't try to keep up with Whitney. This is the middle owner of RIvermont. It was the Pennybackers in Petway. Some of you all might know Johnny Reagan's best friend, Frank Petway. And this guy on the left, the movie star guy, Bob Rittenbach, came through and snatched away Jane Pennybacker.
Mossbacher. She's kind of
She
cute.
was pretty.
She's
Took her to Houston, Texas. Moved next door to a guy named George Bush. He was on the cover of Sports Illustrated because he was a sailor of some note. Actually, he and his brother were considered to be the best sailors in the world in the 1950s. And he went on to become Secretary of Commerce under Bush. He actually, through Mossbacher Energies, financed all the Bush campaigns. So I know Allie would like to see him in the back room after the meeting.
He's dead.
But he had a very beautiful 4 children before his wife Jane passed away. And here's the third owner of RIvermont, the Kerr family. You all might recognize the famous international president of Sertone International. Now, clothes came down from Terrell, David, Chris, and John. You can see I was a little late in getting my next jacket. And you can see John was a little early in getting his. But before John, he was the one that had these flannel shirts, kind of like the Lamar Alexander shirt, but it looked totally faded out. There was no color left because it had traveled through 3 before. And poor John, he had to take that 4th bath. Oh my gosh. You all might remember this fella. He's the one that got me interested in Sertone, Jim Kerr, and he was a great American. The Kerr boys should have turned out much better than we did because we had really neat parents.
We're slackers.
And of course, right now, RIvermont's for sale if anyone wants it, or I'm still looking for a partner to create a really interesting bed and breakfast. All right, here we are. 38 años pasado, 38 years ago, and my cousin called me and said, let's go to Argentina. And when you're 23 years old, almost any idea sounds good. And you can see my mother was trying to sneak in there. She's in the middle. We bought a van for $500. It had no windows. Of course, we thought that might not be a good thing, driving to Argentina with no windows. So we cut a hole in the side of it and put one in, and we put that thing on the roof to let it breathe a little bit. But we only had windows on one side, so we only saw half the trip. But we thought, well, when we drive back, we'll sit there. And here we are. We went through Texas. It took us a long time. It took us a few months to make it to the border. But you can see my cousin Kim was very interested in this German girl on the far right. She was an old power girl. Her name was RIvermont. And there was one brave girl that came on the trip because the one in the middle is from Colombia, South America. I'm the second from right in the crisscross shirt. And I say that because I know I look a little different. And then Richard Roberts from Greenville, he was helping us pack the van, and he said, can I go too? And we said, sure. And there used to be a border. This is news to some of you younger people. There was a border between the United States and Mexico. And as soon as you cross over, it's beautiful. I think I've heard Rob say we ought to just make Mexico another state. And I think you got your wish, but it's just beautiful. All of Latin America to me was just enchanted. Here's a little cactus plant. Some people have these in their front yard and backyard in Tennessee, but they grow bigger down there. And here's our van. You can see how we have windows on one side. And we had the South American handbook. We kept seeing the same people over and over because they had it too from people all over the world. That's ruins in Mexico called Tula. And this is how it kind of looked in the morning as we were getting ready to go on another trip around town.
We're y'all sleeping out the...
Pretty much, yeah. We should have been killed. And, I don't know why there's that wood over there. We had another window there. We should have taken that wood out. Well, anyway, that's breakfast. And here's my cousin, Richard Roberts, Kim from England. He's named after the Rudyard Kipling book, Kim, because he was born in Malaysia, just like my mother was. And he looks very debonair there, except I think he's too close to the edge. Richard Roberts, my friend from Greenville, next to him. Now look how I started blending in. After I got a little tan, everyone thought I was the Mexican in the group, which really spurred me into learning Spanish because they'd come up thinking I could talk it, and I couldn't. See there's my cousin. He's a risk taker.
Good.
I think that's too close to the edge. Within a few hours of this, was that. We were in southern Mexico, and he went with Richard Roberts and climbed up on a mountain for a better view of the city, and he said that he and a boulder felt simultaneously, with that British accent, it always sounds good even when you're doing stupid stuff. And he said if it weren't for the cactus plant that broke his fall, it would have killed him, he said, which is a great thing to land on a cactus plant. He says he's still pulling thorns out of his flesh. And Roberts drug him down the mountain. We took him to a hospital. They're like this. They said, listen, he'll be fine. I mean, he had a compound fracture, visible bone. We don't treat Americans here. It's just a different world. We're a very loving country, inclusive and all that. But you'll get shot if you try to get from Guatemala into Mexico today. But they'll put you on a train and send you over to Tejas. Come on. This changed everything. So we took him, he had his leg about to explode from gangrene, and we took him to Guatemala City. You could see him wince every time we went around the curve. Terrell Kerr, his sister-in-law, Diane Rojas, married the handsome man next to Roberts in the yellow shirt. His name was Carlos Rojas.
Oh, that's Carlos.
His son lives in Knoxville, Pablo Rojas, and another son lives in Tampa, Florida. So we've always had a relationship with the Rojas family. And the two on the right were both in medical school, so I told my cousin Kim, don't worry, I know doctors in Guatemala.
They live in France now.
So, yeah, the one on the far right was murdered shortly after we left, because it's a rough place. And the one in the middle with fixing his helmet, he does live in France. He's a medical doctor in France. But they did say he's going to lose his leg, and you need real help. Go somewhere else. So it was good, and he flew with our Colombian to Medellin, Colombia. But it was just a wonderful trip. I was having so much fun, I kept forgetting that Kim was dying. In a tent hospital, I mean, they just have...
Nursing staff.
Pardon?
This is the nursing staff.
Well, just, I really did. I watched Cayo Rojas read a book on transplanting veins to the heart. He said, I'm going to try this tomorrow. And when you go visit my cousin Kim, they had a huge earthquake in 1976 in Guatemala. It just shook everything to the ground. So their hospital was actually a gymnasium with tents. And my cousin Kim, through gritted teeth, I was looking over and I was seeing kind of like a zombie-looking person with body parts missing and stuff. And he said, get me out of here. I thought, why? It's a hospital? It was just really beautiful. That's a volcano in Guatemala. It would shoot off these smoke rings. We kind of hit people that somehow the five of us knew from somehow. This guy, the girl on our trip, had met on a cruise boat in the Mediterranean, so we stayed with him in his finca or farm for coffee and tea.